Well, hello there, and welcome to FrankieSense and More. My guest, my co-host today, I should say, is Brent Marchant. He is our Good Radio Network's movie critic, and this is our third annual Oscar prediction show. And I really want to know what you love, which movies you love, and which ones you think should be in the running, and who should win, and even if they shouldn't win, like which ones you love. Brent's going to give us his list. I'm going to share a few of mine, and we're gonna have a real fun show. So I am going to take it, Brent, you can take it over. I'm going to share your notes here.
Well, thank you, Frankie.
If we can
Great to be back as always.
Thank you. Let's see, where's Brent? Oh, here's Brent's. Okay. I will toggle back and forth, folks. You will see me and you will see some notes. So there you go. All right, here we go. Brent, Best Picture. Now this must irk you.
Boy, it sure does.
I'll just share that this was a movie that Brent put in his worst of 2018. And here it is. No, up in the running for Best Picture.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of out on a limb on this one in terms of not liking it. However, there are some other reviewers who've looked at it and have come to the same conclusion that I did, where they basically say there's no there when it comes to this movie.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous to look at, but that's about it. This one, I would say, is probably the inside track for Best Picture. Best Picture is probably the hardest category to handicap this year, simply because when you look at the competitions leading up to it, there have been other winners in other competitions.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some other nominees that could sneak in, possibly Green Book, possibly Black Panther, possibly Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
But I think Roma is probably got the inside track right now because it's been picking up and it's got a lot of things going for it in terms of appeal with the voters. The director, Alfonso Cuarón from Mexico, he's sort of like a Hollywood darling.
Mm-hmm.
They love his work, so I think that's going to put him in good standing.
But unusual for an international movie.
A little bit, yes.
Yeah.
But and this is going to probably sound incredibly cynical on my part, but I'll say it anyways. This is a movie that's it's a Mexican production. It's set in Mexico. It's in Spanish. And given the current political situation with the relations between the U.S. and Mexico, a lot of times Hollywood likes to make a statement with some of the awards that it gives out. And being very liberal and left-leaning, they're naturally going to try and support the underdog whenever they can. And
but it could win Best International Movie.
Well, yeah, I mean it's nominated in that category, and I'm sure it'll probably win there as well. It's unusual for a foreign film to make its way into the Best Picture category, but this one did, and again, because of some of that left-leaning sentiment, it's not unusual for Hollywood to do something like give out an award to make a statement, and that could stand Roma sort of in good stead, compared to some of its competition. Personally, regardless of how you feel about the political situation, I think that's the wrong reason for giving out an award for something.
Absolutely.
An artistic achievement.
Yeah.
But, Hollywood's been known to do stuff like that from time to time, so I wouldn't be terribly surprised. In terms of its competition, as I say, some of the other films that have won awards.
What's your top 1, 2, 3? Like
my personal
your personal 1, 2, 3, and then who do you think is going to win?
Well, my personal, I would go with Green Book first.
Okay.
Then I would probably go with, I would say Black Klansman second.
Yeah.
And then third, I would probably go with, The Favorite. I think those are the three I would go with. The reason why I don't think The Favorite will get in is I think it's going to be seen as too dark. And Hollywood doesn't like to necessarily honor the dark side too much, at least when it comes to the big picture category.
Okay.
They might in some of the other ones, but they're interested in getting people into seats in theaters. And The Favorite may just be a little bit too intense and too dark for some people to go see. So I think you can rule that one out. I would love it if Green Book pulled the upset. I mean, I love that movie.
I love that movie too.
It was my #2 movie of 2018.
It's my #2 movie,
yeah.
But my #1 is still Bohemian Rhapsody. I would love to see Bohemian Rhapsody take it. And I'm like you. I got Bohemian Rhapsody. I've got Green Book. I've got Black Klansman, which I absolutely love, and A Star Is Born. I mean, I think it was still a really good movie. I know that you thought there wasn't enough. It didn't make enough change to it. But when you think it's a green actor, music was written for it. It's pretty good. And a first-time director, really. I know that you don't like him, but.
Well, I think, when it comes to A Star Is Born, I think that's going to take home the prize in the best song category. I have a feeling, though, that may be the only thing that wins that night. But, at least they'll get something. And, Lady Gaga will get, shall we say, the consolation prize.
Yeah, yeah. So. But I thought she did a really phenomenal acting job. She really did. And, kudos to her. Triple threat,
But I would say, but getting back to the best picture category, I would say Roma is probably the best bet at this point. Like I say, it's not my choice, but that's Hollywood for you. So.
All right. Well, I'm going to go back to your page here, and we're going to share again, and we're going to look at the best actor. I have to agree with you here.
Yeah, I think Rami Malek for Bohemian Rhapsody is probably beginning to pull away from the pack a little bit. Overall, I would say this is a 2-horse race between him and Christian Bale for Vice.
Yeah.
They seem to be the ones who've been picking up all the awards in other competitions. Viggo Mortensen has a very slight dark horse chance to come in, at the last minute. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think he'll win Best Actor, but he did a great job.
Yeah, I mean, those three, I think,
supporting actor, maybe.
are really good, as is Willem Dafoe for At Eternity's Gate. Mm-hmm. But I think he's a real long shot at this point.
Well, they don't tend to love art pictures for some stupid reason.
That's true. I mean, and for some reason, they've been a little, how shall we say, sparing in the recognition they give to Willem Dafoe. Also, he's been nominated a number of times, but he's never won. And
he's a phenomenal actor. I really love him.
Yeah, I mean, he was a front runner initially last year for his role in the Florida Project.
Yeah, I love that little movie.
Then just got swept out, at the last minute. So I think he's got his time is coming at some point. It's just not there yet. But Rami Malek is just
he was a powerhouse.
He was such a powerhouse in that role, and his performance was just terrific. And I think that when it comes down to a question of who do you want to honor? Do you want to honor somebody playing Freddie Mercury, or do you want to honor somebody playing Dick Cheney? Mm-hmm. Hollywood tends to kind of go with a very strong interest in the likability factor.
Yeah.
I had to pick between those two. I think Freddie Mercury wins hands down. So
I really do, and I still look at this and I think, it's Freddie Mercury. Like, you really nailed him. You really did. It's amazing. I mean, Christian Bale, like you don't even recognize Christian Bale really as Cheney, but which is the hallmark too of a great actor. But the
other thing there too is that Malik's role as Freddie Mercury required him to do an awful lot, singing, and stage antics and acting and so forth, and Bale's role required him to capture Cheney's inflections and facial expressions and things like that, and that's certainly admirable, but it's comparatively, I would say, less less requirements carry it off.
Yeah.
So
Remy, he's never been the lead of a movie before.
No.
Right? I mean, TV show kind of, but not like I mean, Christian's been in a lot of movies, but this is Remy's first time leading the spotlight, and man, he really did just the most phenomenal job. I can't even say enough because I just love that movie so much.
The other thing too with Christian Bale is that he's already won, and Oscar likes to kind of spread around the wealth a little bit. So even though Christian Bale has picked up a previous Oscar, I don't know if he's going to get another one at this time.
Yeah.
One other thing about this movie too is that Vice was not really very well received. I mean, his performance was very well received, as were the performances of his co-stars, Steve Carell and Sam Rockwell.
Mm-hmm.
But the movie itself was just had a kind of a tepid reception among critics and viewers and so forth. It's a far cry from the director's previous movie, the 2015. In many ways, the directorial style and the storytelling manner was very similar, but it worked a lot better in The Big Short than it did in Vice. So that's kind of working against him a little bit. And as I say, with the others in the category, Viggo Mortensen and Willem Dafoe, I think they're long shots. Bradley Cooper, I mean, he's nominated. Personally, I didn't think he should even have been in the category. I think there were other actors who were much more capable.
But he did sing. We've never seen him sing before.
Well,
come on, give him some credit.
I mean,
and he directed at the same time, so it's not, I don't think it's that easy to direct a movie, sing, and act in it.
I think he's a very capable performer, but in a lot of ways, I sort of see him as kind of a one-note actor. I liked his work in American Hustle in 2013. I thought he kind of stepped out of his shell, his self a little bit in doing that role. But in a lot of things I've seen it's kind of like the same thing sort of over and over again. And I'd like to see him do something a little more
Inception.
Different. Sorry?
Inception. Yeah, wasn't he in Inception?
No. You're thinking Leonardo DiCaprio.
I know Leonardo DiCaprio was in it, but I thought he was the guy that gave him the stuff. Yeah, I think so.
Well, in any event, the person who I thought really got screwed on this one was Ethan Hawke for his role in First Reformed. When that movie came out over the summer, he was getting a lot of buzz as being a leading contender for at least a nomination, if not the award. And come award season, he's been pretty much ignored. And that's really a shame, because it was such a powerful performance that he really deserved to get a lot of attention. And fortunately, I mean, he has been getting, at least as a consolation, a lot of credit from bloggers and movie critics who said that his performance being overlooked was one of the biggest snubs of Oscar season.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So anybody who has not seen that movie, I certainly recommend that. It was very high on my list. Although it's not an easy watch. It's a movie that kind of affects you almost on a gut level, because it's so powerful.
Yeah, and it was
kind of painful.
This is where we part ways, because I found it extremely laborious to watch. But that's okay, because to each their own. Let's move on. Where are we going? We're going to Best Actress?
Best Actress.
Okay. Am I sharing? I don't think so. Hold on. Go on. That's okay. Here we go. All right. So this is Glenn Close. You've got Glenn Close.
I think she's pretty much got a lock on this one. And the thing is, her name has been at the front of the pack ever since this movie was released back in last September. Her her distributor has been doing a very good campaigning job of putting her name out there and keeping her in the forefront of people's minds who are among the voters. It's a very good performance. I think it's probably the best of her nominated performances. She's been nominated 7 times.
Oh, wow.
And because she's been nominated 7 times, I think that's a big part of the reason why she's at the front of the pack, because she's kind of the sentimental favorite in many ways. Mm-hmm. Hollywood seems to feel that she's been passed over so many times that she's due.
Yeah.
And I can certainly see the the logic behind that. However, among the nominees, I didn't think it was the strongest of the performances. For me, that would probably be Olivia Colman in The Favorite. She was just phenomenal.
She was brilliant in it.
And she could pose a threat. A couple of weeks ago, when the BAFTA awards, that's the British equivalent of the Oscars, came out, you know, Glenn Close has been sweeping everything pretty much during award season. And at the BAFTA Awards, Olivia Colman beat her. Now, granted, she's a British actress in a British production
Yes.
for a British awards program, so that's
Yeah.
probably got something to do with it to a certain extent. But sometimes when it comes to the BAFTA Awards, that sometimes represents kind of a turning point where, you know, momentum can shift. So she may be a bit more on the radar than she was initially.
Okay.
And I mean, certainly would not be disappointed if she ended up taking home the award. But I think Hollywood's going to go sentimental on this one. I think they're going to give it to Glenn Close. I think she's still got enough momentum behind her performance that, you know, she will end up taking it. The other one who has a slight chance is Lady Gaga, but again, I think I look on her nomination as kind of what I call a down payment nomination, where she's getting her name on the radar for the future. This movie proved, you know, that she's got tremendous abilities. It also proved that she can now pretty much write her own ticket as far as what she wants to do on future projects.
Mm-hmm.
So getting a nomination for this performance is like, you know, like I say, putting down a down payment for the future. I think she will get recognized at some point for another performance. I just don't think this is going to be it.
I think that somebody who has been really overlooked is Nicole Kidman in Destroyer. I thought she was phenomenal in that movie.
She really was.
Such a departure from anything she's ever done, and she looked like death warmed over. And wow, she was amazing.
Well, yeah, I mean, she turned in 2 really strong performances last year, both for Destroyer and for Boy Erased.
Yeah. And
she got shut out in both of them, at least at the Oscars. She did pick up a nomination at the Golden Globes for Destroyer, but I mean, I have to admit, when those nominations were announced, I hadn't even heard of the film.
Yeah.
And I saw Destroyer. What's that? I mean,
yeah. Yeah,
thinking, you know,
I really liked her in that, and even Melissa McCarthy, because, you know, Can You Ever Forgive Me? That was a really great performance by her too. It really
was.
Yeah, like she deserves.
I'm really glad that, you know, she got a nomination for that. I think, again, this is another down payment nomination for the future. She's shown that she can do things other than comedy.
Yeah.
And I think she can pretty much write her own ticket from this point out. Very solid on all fronts. The nomination in this category that I was really disappointed with was Yalitza Aparicio for Roma. Mm-hmm. I don't quite really know how she picked up a nomination, other than the fact that maybe she got swept up in the momentum that was helping to fuel all the recognition that Roma got. I mean, Roma got 10 nominations.
Wow.
But, you know, I really thought the performance was pretty overrated. She kind of mumbles her way through the role, and the character just isn't that interesting. And I don't know. I thought there were a lot of other actresses in other roles that were much more deserving, like Emily Blunt for, you know, Mary Poppins Returns.
Right. She did a great job in that too.
Julia Roberts in Ben Is Back, Susan Sarandon in Vipers Club. I mean, last year was such a terrific year for lead actress performances that I really thought, if you're going to have to narrow it down to 5, I mean, pick your 5 best. And she certainly was not in that group, in my opinion.
Okay. Let me share your screen again. Let's see. We are going to move on to Best Director. Now you have Alfonso.
Yeah, Alfonso Cuarón, the director of Roma. He's been winning everything. You know, virtually every awards competition that's taken place. He also took the top prize at the Directors Guild Award ceremony. I think he's got a lock on this one. In terms of the competition, I don't think there's anybody where people are going to be able to catch up with him. Certainly nice to see Spike Lee finally getting recognized with a nomination for Best Director.
Yes, he is like one of my most favorite directors, has been for many, 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 many years, and I love him, just love him. And I love BlacKkKlansman. I thought BlacKkKlansman was a brilliant movie.
The nomination that came as kind of a surprise in this category for me was Paweł Pawlikowski for Cold War. to pick up an award for Best Director without your film being nominated for Best Picture is quite a coup.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, I mean, he beat out a number of other people who could have easily, been nominated for this category but weren't. And Cold, I think this is again, it's another down payment nomination. He's got quite a signature style with his way of making movies. A couple of years ago, he directed a movie called Ida, which was would name the best foreign language film for Poland. And this time with Cold War, again, his film representing Poland, the film has picked up, I believe it's 3 nominations. So he's somebody who, I think is going to be going on the radar. That at some point he's going to be recognized for his work. I think he's the only person who could conceivably knock off Cuarón when it comes to the Best Director award, partly because Cold War, like Roma, was filmed in black and white. It's gorgeous to look at. And also the fact that, he's dealing with a story that has got a lot of, political overtones in it.
Right.
As well as other issues. It's a love story as well. So, he's a possible dark horse, but I would say it's pretty remote at this point. I really don't think there's anybody else who's going to hold a candle to Cuarón on this one.
Okay. So, Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to this one, it's probably the one acting category where there again is just about another lock on it, and that would go to Mahershala Ali for Green Book. He has won everything just about leading up to the Oscars, and he was just brilliant in this role. I mean,
how is he the Best Supporting Actor? I kind of think it's a balance between really Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah, it's a role that kind of straddles the line between lead and supporting.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you have that straddling going on, it'll go whichever way helps to accommodate the most performances being nominated that are in competition conceivably with each other. Mm-hmm. If you had put him in the lead category, it would significantly reduce his chances, I believe, because he would be also up against his co-star Viggo Mortensen. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times when you've got 2 people from the same movie, they tend to cancel each other out.
Because I would have put Viggo Mortensen as the Best Supporting Actor, really.
Well, actually, I think when you compare the number of lines, I think actually Viggo Mortensen's got more to do in the movie than Ali does. So I think that was sort of the factor in terms of how Ali ended up as a supporting role. But basically, as I said, I think it's pretty much his award to lose at this point. Now, the thing that's kind of interesting there is the fact that he just won 2 years ago for Moonlight.
Yes, yeah.
And a lot of times, Oscar tends not to award statues that close together. But the strength of this performance is so great that it's just hard to ignore.
And I just saw Alita, and he of course is in that movie. A lot of people are in that movie, which surprised me a lot. But I thought, wow, what a strange role after Moonlight and Green Book.
Well, he's getting a lot of work these days.
Yeah.
I mean, after he won the award for Moonlight, he pretty much was able to write his own ticket at that point. And now, after winning, if he should win this one, which I think he will, I mean, he's going to put himself on the level of Hollywood superstardom, where he'll be able to just pretty much call his own shots, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, deservedly so. He's a terrific actor.
He really is.
As much as I liked his performance in Moonlight, I think he was that much better even here because he showed even more of a range, than what he had done previously. So, he's I'd say he's pretty much the front runner. The only one who could at this point would be Sam Elliott for A Star Is Born. He's a Hollywood sentimental favorite. This is the first time he's ever been nominated. But I think he pretty much should be content with the nomination being his award. He's the only actor in the category who has defeated Ali in any competition up this year, because he took the award for supporting actor by the National Board of Review at the start of award season, but he hasn't won anything since. And I think that kind of indicates that the momentum really isn't behind him at this point. So he should, enjoy the evening, enjoy getting dressed up in a nice tux and having a good time at the show, but don't expect to take home the award that night. As for the other nominees, I hate to say it, but they're all kind of, also rans at this point, which is not to say that the performances weren't good. I mean, Adam Driver and Sam Rockwell.
Yeah, Adam Driver was fantastic too.
I mean, they were just terrific roles. Richard E. Grant. I mean, I was really pleased to see him at one of the award shows where he was being interviewed on the red carpet beforehand, and what do you think your chances are of winning? He goes, frankly, I don't care. I'm just happy to be here. I've never been nominated for anything.
Yeah, there you go.
So, I mean, it's really nice to see him getting in the spirit of what the nominations themselves are really all about.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to be nominated. Okay, yeah. Let's go to Best Supporting Actress. You've got Regina King.
Yes, for If Beale Street Could Talk. Now, this category is a very curious one. She was the front runner coming into award season, and in the initial competition, she took home virtually all the hardware. However, in the two most recent awards, the BAFTAs and the Screen Actors Guild Awards, she wasn't even nominated.
Wow.
Now, so that's making me wonder if her support is soft coming into the Oscars. I still think she's the front runner, but it doesn't seem to be as solid as it was maybe when award season got its start. So if she ends up losing that support coming into the Oscar voting, then it's anybody's game. I mean, conceivably, anybody else in this category could win. So this is probably the hardest of the acting categories to call, simply because conceivably it could be the favorite, or conceivably it could be anybody's guess.
I mean, we have Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz for the favorite, and either one could take it because both were fabulous in it.
Yes.
Rachel maybe just a slightly bit more.
Well, again, the one thing when you've got two nominees from the same film in the same categories, they tend to cancel each other out. So I think even though conceivably they're in the running if Regina King's support is soft, I think they're probably the least likely of the candidates. I think the one for whom the opportunity might open up would be Amy Adams for Vice. She is somebody who, this is her 6th nomination, she's never won. Conceivably, Hollywood could say, hey, we're finally getting around to recognizing you, here's your Oscar.
Yeah.
Now, the disappointment that I have with that is the fact that her role in Vice was okay. It was not great. I usually really like just about anything she does. She could read the phone book on the screen and I'd probably be happy with it. But her role in Vice was a little bit, it didn't have the sparkle, that some of her other performances have had. So I'd kind of hate to see her win by default, which is kind of what, might happen there. And the other nominee, Marina de Tavira for Roma, where that nomination came from, I have no idea. She has not been nominated in any other competitions all award season long. So again, I think it's another case of somebody getting swept up with the Roma momentum. This was a kind of a hard category even to fill with performers, because the supporting actress category is usually one of the strongest of the categories each year, and this year it was comparatively weak. There really were not a lot of really, really strong performances. For me, I mean, the two best in the category are the two nominees from The Favorite. I mean, Rachel Weisz and Emma Stone, I thought they were both terrific. Yeah. But I also knew that when they both got nominated that they probably would be, negating one another when it comes to picking up the award. So
Well, Emma got one last year, didn't she get it for?
It was 2016 for
Yeah.
La La Land.
Yeah.
And Rachel Weisz picked up the award for The Constant Gardener back in 2005. So, you know, again, that's another thing that's kind of working against them in the fact that they both won not all that long ago. I'm sure both of them will probably win again, but I don't think this will be, you know, the time for it to happen. So,
okay, let's look at best song. Is it going to be Where Lost Things Go from Mary Poppins or Shallow?
No, it's going to be Shallow. I mean,
Okay.
it's like I say, this is going to be it's going to be Lady Gaga's consolation prize. Personally, I think I would probably go with the song from Mary Poppins, but you know, that's just a personal preference.
Yeah.
It's certainly a very strong contender, but I don't think it's going to be enough to knock off.
That's a good song, but I don't know. Shallow's been going through my head all day. It's been on a lot of shows lately. So, I couldn't even, it's not like supercalifragilistic, you know, you can't just sing it. So.
Well, the other thing with Shallow too is I think it's going to probably end up being the only award that A Star Is Born wins that night. So I think
I hope you're wrong. I hope you're wrong. But
I think the Oscar voters are going to like play to their strengths and say, well, this is the category where it's got a best shot at winning something, so let's give it to them. So
yeah. Okay, well, there we got it, guys. There you got it.
So it'll be interesting to see, you know, how things shake out. This has been something about a more difficult year to pick winners than in the past, compared to like say last year where everything was pretty much clear cut almost from the start.
Yeah.
It was very easy calling the winners last year, but this year it's a little more tricky. So, you know, I could very well be wrong on a lot of this. So,
well, I want to know what our listeners think. I want them to write to us before the Oscars. Can't win after, and let us know what you think, and who should win, and what movies you loved last year and in this year, and some, you know, there's gonna be some wonderful movies. We got some coming up at the end of the month, I guess, or this is our end of the month. But okay, so March we'll have some more movies for you.
We'll have some more movies next month.
We'll have some more movies next month.
Although one movie I would recommend in the interim, if you want to see something fun and charming, go see Isn't It Romantic?
Okay.
Yeah, cute little romantic comedy with Rebel Wilson. I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Perfect.
It got bombed. It got bombed.
Well, it didn't do very well at the box office, but it did perform reasonably well among critics. So.
Oh, okay. Because I read one that said not that it would have stopped me from going because I love Rebel, but I heard that it was like not a very good movie. Like
some critics have been very harsh on it, but then there's others who've basically said, you know, this is a nice little fluffy Valentine's Day movie.
Yeah,
it's kind of fun for a date.
I think she's adorable. Come on, she's really cute.
So there's a lot of things in it that are really funny. I love the way it kind of skewers romantic comedies, and they're all their cliches. So particularly, there's a couple of impromptu, perfectly orchestrated music video sequences that are just a hoot. So.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. And she's great. I love her.
Yeah, she really proved in this too that she can carry a film.
Mm-hmm.
She's mostly played supporting parts up to this point, and I think this is the first time where she's really had to break out as a lead, and she does a great job.
And I mentioned Alita, and that was a fun movie. It was a good movie. I liked it. A lot of people panned it. A lot of the critics panned it because of the way it ended, but I didn't have a problem with it.
Well, I'll have to take your word for it on that one because I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet? Okay. No, it was very enjoyable. It was a great movie. You know what? I thought, but it was fun. And as I said, they panned it for the way it ended, but I think the way it ended, it was just setting you up for the next one, for the sequel. So I didn't have a problem with it.
The big one that's coming up, and it's already starting to draw some controversy in terms of reaction, is Captain Marvel. There seems to be kind of almost an orchestrated hate campaign against it in some way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's sort of it echoes a lot of the response to the last Star Wars movie, where a lot of people have been saying, you know, well, how can women be superheroes? So it seems to be there's a lot of trolling going on social media and on some of the blog sites to be taking it down just because it's trying to do something different, which that kind of stuff really annoys me.
Yeah, like, yeah. I don't know if people have seen what women want or what men want. It was cute. Terry, she definitely carried the movie. Yeah, there's not a whole lot coming up that I can see for a little bit. I mean, everybody loves the Lego movie.
Yeah.
It's not my cup of tea, but
Well, right now,
they love it.
a lot of viewers who are interested in the Oscars are making their way to see the nominated films before they leave theaters. So that's really where a lot of the movie going concentration is going on now. In terms of the new releases, January and February pretty much are almost always the cinematic wasteland of the year.
Mm-hmm.
It's where distributors and studios put out stuff that they've bought into simply because they got to put it out at some point. And with everybody being more focused on seeing the Oscar nominees, they're not going to be worried if their new releases at this time of the year don't get a lot of attention simply because they don't expect them to.
Yeah.
So
okay. Well, thanks,
so
Brent.
wait for March. You'll be seeing, I think, some more new stuff coming out then, and things will start getting better again.
Facebook, we're gonna say goodbye to you. Okay. Good stuff.